You know, Hina is a really strong individual. What she has demonstrated in this series, honestly, not normally people can't really handle. And I'm willing to bet you majority that watch this series cannot even begin to comprehend the circumstances and understand really how to handle it. I mean, they might talk a big game, and even I might say things, but in reality, a lot of us haven't been through the exact same things or hardships she is currently going through, and it makes me appreciate March Comes In Like a Lion, because it's very apparent that the writer of this series has a very, very good understanding of how bullying is in the first place. It's not something that just gets handled like that. It's not something that gets handled by trying to talk to teachers, talk to the principal, talk to the parents, talk to any individual's friends or whatever. It's not something that's handled even with violence. Stuff like that doesn't normally happen. It's a lot more complicated than just doing one certain little thing. Many would say to handle bullying is to stand up, beat the hell out of the bully, and there you go, end the story. But that's not always the case. That can lead to more happening, or long-term things happening to where either you are expelled, suspended, or more people shun you because they don't want to be around you because they think you're a violent individual, which makes you even more lonely in class. There's just so many different things that could possibly happen. That's just so many variables. And like I said, many might talk a big game saying like you would do so-and-so, but that does not always work. And seeing how Hina is being able to put up with this and trying to cope with it, it just shows how strong of a person she is. But once again, before I get into that, I just want to say, if I had a hat on, I would tip it, and I would say, fantastic job, writer. You're doing a fantastic job with handling these themes, because I've seen this theme used in so many, countless books, manga, anime, TV shows, movies. I've seen this concept so many times, and it's never really handled properly. It's always handled in one way. It has never shown how complicated it really can be, and that's what's happening here in this series. So I want to end it there. I don't want to rehash what I've already said before. It needs to be addressed, and it needs to be complimented, because it's just truly excellent stuff that's going on here with this series. Anyways, though, let's talk about Hina. Hina, how she handled herself at the end of this episode was something that took a lot of guts. If you walked in to a classroom, okay, just think about this yourself. Every one of us has been in school, okay, or you're still going to school, either college, high school, whatever. Every one of us has been in school. And what if you were to walk into your classroom? Obviously, everybody has different opinions of how they would view it. They handle it in a different way. But if you were to walk into a classroom and you look onto the board and you see, like, some word stuff, maybe not the same lines that was said to Hina, but something very rude, something just awful, okay? And you walked in, like, the first thing you see in the morning, like, at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 8, whatever, what time you get in there, and that's the first thing you see, you're probably going to be upset. It's going to ruin your entire day. It's going to be in your mind. Even if you don't want to show anything, it's probably going to make you extremely upset. Either you're going to go around the classroom and ask who did it, wanting to beat the hell out of someone, or you're just going to be, like, shocked, and you're probably just going to want to just leave school or do something else. And the way Hina just walked in, she looked at it, but then she sat down and she acted like it didn't even faze her, was ballsy. Because it showed that, like, oh, okay, that's how you feel, go ahead and say it. But in reality, she was bottling it up. And now, I'm not saying that's the proper thing she should do, but she showed she's trying to handle it in a way that hasn't already been handled yet. For instance, she is now being passive about it. She's not acting like it afflicts her and makes her upset in any way. She didn't show a look of, like, sadness or even anger. She just suppressed all this. She acted very compassionate, and when you see how she talks to the teacher, when the teacher comes in, sees the board, and looks very worried and all that, and you see these flashes of how the previous conversation was, and how Hina was trying to talk about someone else, she realizes what type of mistake and what is currently going on here, which I'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, though, Hina, she keeps it all bottled up, and she acts completely fine. It's like, oh, someone else wrote before I got in. I don't know who wrote it, but someone did. And she was just acting like, okay, someone did that. And she didn't act like it fazed her at all. And you could see how the bullies in the side, they were probably getting a little bit uncomfortable about it. They were not necessarily probably worried about getting in trouble, as in, so to say, they were upset that it didn't really faze her at all. Because usually bullies, when they try to do this type of stuff, there's usually a reason for it. The reason why they're bullies is because either A, they seek that reaction reaction out of people. They want to see that reaction. They want to see someone just squirm and get upset, and they typically like that reaction, to just really upset someone because it makes them feel better about themselves. Or they're very lonely and they just like to make someone feel even worse than they are because they're just a lonely individual, or they're just a really horrible person in general. Whatever the case may be, though, you can see that they were a little bit uncomfortable by Hina's reaction because she didn't really show anything at all, but she's going to talk about it after class. Now, getting into the teacher, though, the teacher... okay, this is something that needs to be addressed, okay? I'm not going to say that the teacher is in the right for, letting the bullying slide and not really wanting to handle it, acting like it didn't happen in the first place. I'm not going to say the teacher is innocent. I refuse to say that. The teacher is at fault. However, it's not entirely the teacher's fault, and let me explain why, okay? Now, let's look at this as an adult perspective. Now, like I said, many of you might be going through school right now, high school or college, and maybe you've never actually been in a position of a teacher position or a job or whatever. I haven't, so I'm not going to say I know these things, but I'm just going by my assumption here. What I think, and theory-wise, is that if you were in the role of a teacher, and you were to, let's say, find out one of your students are getting bullied in your homeroom class, obviously, if you're a good person, you're going to go mention it to the higher-ups. You're going to go mention it to another teacher, or you're going to mention it to the principal. One or the other is going to happen. And when you mention this to the principal, it depends on the person, the principal as well. The principal, normally, when they're looking at this, yes, they're trying to keep people safe. They're trying to keep individuals happy. But at the same time, school is also similar to a corporation, a business. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. I mean, yes, we're getting free education, or in U.S., we're getting free education, but the big thing is it's still technically somewhat of a business, and schools don't want bad PR. They don't want that bad PR. They don't want bad PR to where, like, oh, our school is known for, this kid being bullied, and it gets all over the news and all that, and it gets big and widespread. It'll ruin the entire image of the school if, it gets back, and the principal doesn't want that tied to the school, because then his higher-ups will get onto his back, yell at him, and it'll just be a big chain effect. And so, the big point is why it's not necessarily the entire teacher's fault, like, the teacher's not entirely at fault, is because it also goes back to the higher-ups, a part of it as well. They might not want to deal with it because they don't want bad press, which that's just how companies are. They preferably rather just sweep it under the rug or handle it behind closed doors than have it public and get it settled in a wide open space, which that's a whole other problem. So I can't blame the teacher entirely, but she's still at fault. Anyways, let's talk about what options might happen. I feel like the teacher might play a little bit of a bigger role this time around because she clearly knows what's going on. She can't deny it any further. And this girl that was trying to help someone else out that had the courage is now getting bullied. She's probably going to step up and try to do something. But on top of that, though, I think the big problem, what the big problem is right now with the series, or not the series, but the bullying, is the students. The students, I think, are the biggest people that are at fault right now. They're all acting like it's not happening. They're all acting like it. I don't think it's just the teacher. It's the students that are being bystanders. They're just watching. They're just sitting there watching this girl, or dude, whoever, getting bullied and not saying anything. Yes, they don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to get bullied as well. But look, at the end of the day, there's like 4 of them. Or 1, 4, 3, 4, or 3, just 2, it doesn't matter, okay? Just a certain number. And you have an entire class of like 20, 30 students. Get the hell out of here. If you all stood up and stopped being little cowards, you could say something and these bullies would stop. They'd be like, oh, we can't get away with this in class because everybody doesn't like us. And that's what I think is going on here. If the entire class learned to stand up as a one unit and help someone out when they're getting kicked down into the dirt, then I don't think this type of stuff would happen. That's my opinion on it. And that's clearly the biggest problem right now, is that the students are acting like it's not their problem. Which, in reality, it is. They're actually, in a way, might as well be a bully as well, because the way they're treating Hina. So, they're all effectively bad people at the moment. So, that's my opinion on it. Anyways, though, let's talk about what Ray did in this episode. So, Ray, oh man, it's funny. It's adorable and funny that this man tried to cheer up Hina, but in turn, he got depressed and Hina had to cheer him up, which it's just very adorable. Hina's character and how she's able to cheer someone up even though she's depressed, it just shows what type of upbringing she's had. She's been taught quite well. She's been very, very, very good as a person, and you could see that her upbringing has just been fantastic. So yeah, just I like that little segment and how Ray was trying to cheer her up overall, and I just like also how Ray is learning to be a little bit more competitive and also strive to be better in shogi and actually work for the money. I mean, at the end of the day, he's also professional, so he does need money. I mean, that's just how it is. It's his main job. His main job is to be a shogi player, so he needs money, and one of the big things he's been lacking is that motivation, that drive to be a better shogi player. I mean, he always plays shogi to kind of escape from things. It was kind of like his board he held on to in the sinking ocean, where he didn't sink completely and become completely depressed. But now he's attached his board to someone else as like a lifeboat. He's trying to bring someone else on board to keep them afloat, and he's now having a new motive, a new goal to push forward, and now he's no longer just looking at it as a means to just escape life, but as a way to help another life. So that shows how much he has developed as well. So I want to end it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this week's episode of March Comes In Like a Lion. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Please be honest in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please leave a like. It helps me out a lot. And if you don't like this video, well, obviously, leave a dislike as well, because I won't fault you for it. Everybody has an opinion. And if you don't like me, you don't like me. Love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.